I gave you an assignment. So let me start with Frank. I believe you've done your own assignment, right?
Yeah, yes, sir. I've done my assignment.
Okay. Can you please share your screen
Yes.
before we write on? Please share your screen. Let's see what you've done.
Uh, my screen is not ready yet. It's still loading, just like 5 minutes
Okay, it's still coming
to
up.
load. Yes, sir. Yes, it's still coming up. It's still
Okay,
coming up, sir.
no problem about that. Okay, let's start the class. Uh, I'm not sure Blessing has done her own too, because I think you sent a message to me that you're having issue with some things like that. Okay, no problem. Please, if you have not done your own, please just try to endeavor to do it today so that I can see it tomorrow because it is an opportunity for you to build yourself. Yes. The best way to learn coding is to write a lot of codes. Okay, without wasting time, let's move into business. Why when Frank's system is ready, then you let me know so that we can see what you got. Today we are going to continue with the CSS because that is where we stopped. CSS, which is the inline. Let me share my screen for you guys to see. I will share my screen for you guys to see. We are going to continue with the inline styling method. Inline styling method. Inline styling method. Now, I believe you can see my screen, right?
Yes, it's coming up. The screen is
Okay.
there.
Yes.
We can see it.
Now you can see it, right? So now, the inline styling method is still the same way, that is writing your styling, writing your CSS inside the tag directly as one of the attributes. I will use a dummy text, lorem, I'll put 20. Now, a dummy text is this. Pay attention to this. A dummy text is just a text without meaning. It doesn't have a meaning. We normally use dummy text to fill the space, to fill space when we are designing a website, so that whenever we have the right word to use, we now use it to actually do what? To replace that position. So you are allowed to use a dummy text to fill your space when you are designing a website. So we'll be using dummy text all through this class. We're going to be using dummy text all through the class. So now I will use lorem 20. That means it should give me 20 words. So I want to style this using my inline styling method. That is inline method of styling. Now the inline styling method is writing directly inside the tag. Inside the tag. So the attribute name is style. Then your equal sign. Then what you want to actually apply to this. Let's say I want to apply something called a background to this first. Then I say background color. Background color, I will put yellow. Background color, I will put yellow. Now, let me say this. There is something we call the hexadecimal color. Hexadecimal. The hexadecimal color is not directly writing the name of the color, and it is common to professionals. They actually write the color code out. Like yellow now is this. Your hashtag, then the FFF000. That is the hexadecimal color of yellow. So if you don't want to write it out as yellow, you want to use the professional way of writing it, you can make use of your hexadecimal color, which is your FFF000. That is yellow. If it is red, it is FF in 2 places, 000 in 4 places. That is red. So yellow is 3F30. Red is 2F40. Now, you don't need to master this. You don't need to memorize it. If you want to get the color, maybe you actually want to make use of a particular color and you don't know this hexadecimal color for the hexadecimal code for the color that you want to make use of, you can go online, type the name of the color and put hexadecimal for color yellow, hexadecimal for color red, hexadecimal, hexa, H-E-X-A, H-E-X-A, then decimal for color blue. Then to bring out the code for you to use. Now, if I want to use blue now, blue is this. It's 000, then FFF. That is color blue. If you want to use the lemon, it's 00, FF is 00. That is lemon. So if you want to use orange like this, FF 5000. That should be orange. Now, don't mind me. The reason why I know most of this is because I use them often. As I speak, I don't know every colors. I don't know all the colors. I only know the ones I use often. So the more you use the color, the more you get stick to them. So these are the colors I use mostly every day when I'm working on a project. So, but the more you work with it, the more the color gets stick. So this is called the hexadecimal color. So if you don't want to make use of your direct color by saying color yellow, color red, color blue, orange, and so on, you can use this professional way of referring to color and you will get it. Now, in most codes that you will come across out there, you will never see red, you will never see blue, you will never see yellow directly written on the screen. What you are going to see is this, or you see the RGB, which is the red, green, blue. So it all depends depends on choice, on preference. I don't use RGB. Some people actually prefer RGB, while some people prefer the hexadecimal, which I use. So you can pick any of these pattern and get stick to it. So now I will be using the hexadecimal for this class. So yellow is FFF is 000. Now that is to the background of the text there which I just created. Now let's take a look at the screen. Now this is it. Let me increase it. I have the background to be yellow. Now, if I want the text to be moved to the center, that means to move to the center of this yellow, to be in a center alignment, that is to the center of this box, yellow background, all I need to do is to apply something here. And don't forget to always end your values. The first one, which we have here, background color, is the property name, followed by the colon, followed by the value. And every value should end with a semicolon. I repeat, every value should end with a semicolon. A colon actually separates the property name from the value, while semicolon end the statement. In programming, semicolon is just like your full stop, just the way you use your grammatical expression, English language. When you write a sentence, you put a full stop. In programming, when you write a statement, you put a semicolon. And that is our own full stop in programming. It applies to CSS, it applies to JavaScript, and so many programs like that. So the semicolon should always end your value. That is your statement when you are doing your styling. Now I want to make the text to be at the center of that box, yellow background, all I need to do is text align to be center, text align to be center. Then I should have the text at the center of the box. If I want the text to actually align to the right hand side here, it is just the same property name, which is your text align, then it here should be the right. Then it should align to the right hand side. Now that tells you that by default, it is always text aligned to the left. You remember that by default, without applying the text align, it was at this area, at this junction. I'm talking of the left hand side. So even though you don't put your text align property name at all, the text align is there by default and it is assigned a value of left by default. So it is only when you want to move it to the center or you want to move it to the right that you now need to specify it and put the value as either center or right. But by default, it is always at where? At your left side. So that is your text align. Let me move it to the center. Text align to the center. Then it should be at the center. Also, if I want to change the character to capital letter, then the property name is this: text transform to uppercase. Text transform to uppercase. That is how to change the character from either small letter to capital letter. If I go here now to check, I should have it in uppercase. Now the property name is called text transform and the value is called the uppercase. If I want to change the color of the text, all I need to do is to come back here. Now, the color of the text, not the background of the text. If you are changing the color of the letterings, what you need to target is called, the property name is called color. If you want to change the color of the background, the property name is called background color. I repeat, if you are working on the text, you want to change the color of the text, the property name is called color. If you want to change the background color of the text, the property name is background color. So now to change the color of the text, I just need to write color. Then let's say I want to red. If you remember, I said red is what? Double F and 4 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4. That should give us red. Hexadecimal color code. Now, if I should go back to here, we should have it as red. I can still go ahead to do more on this. I want space.
Eight, nine, Mama, what? What do you want again? Let me see.
Now, if I want space around this, because I can see that my text is actually very close to the top and the bottom and here, but I want a space around it. Many people will say margin. It is not margin, it is called padding. Padding is used for inner spacing, while margin is used for outer spacing. You don't need to memorize anything here. Always have it in your mind. Whenever you mention padding, what should actually comes to your mind or to your head is inner spacing. But whenever you mention margin, or whenever you come across the word margin, what should come to your head is outside spacing. Margin, outside spacing. Padding, inside spacing, that is inner spacing. So for me to apply spacing inside this yellow box so that the text will be a bit far from the background at the top, on the left, on the right, and finally at the bottom, all I need to do is go to my code here. Then after the semicolon, then I will put padding. Then I will put a value there. Let's say 30px. That means 30 should apply to all the sides. So you can see now, there is a space here. There is 30px here on the right. There is another 30px on the bottom. There is another 30px on the left. If I want space, I'm still going back to the padding. Let's assume I want space only to the top. I don't want the padding to apply to the bottom. And I don't want the padding to apply to the left. And I don't want it to apply to the right. Only to the top here. What do I need to do? I will just come back here from the code. Now, this 30 that I put here actually applies to everything, like the top here, 30px, that is 30 spacing. To the right, 30 spacing here. To the bottom, 30px spacing. To the left, 30px spacing. So, but I want the 30 to only apply to the top. Here, no space. It should go back to the way it was. Here, it should go back to the way it was. Likewise here, it should actually go back to the way it was. Then all I need to do is to specify the values one after the other. Now, the padding works in a clockwise direction. The first number we apply to the top. The second value applies to the right. The third value applies to the bottom. And the last value applies to the left. Clockwise direction. Clockwise, just like your normal clock. The top, like the 12, the 3, the 6, and the 9. That is what we are saying here. 12 p.m. or 12 a.m., 3 p.m. or 3 a.m., 6 a.m. or 6 p.m., 9 p.m. or 9 a.m. So the 30 applies to the 12 in the clockwise direction. The 0px, which follows the 30, is equivalent to your 3 p.m. The next 0px is equivalent to your 6 p.m. The last 0 is equivalent to your 9 p.m. Clockwise direction. So the 30 applies to the top. The 0 that follows the 30 applies to your right. The next 0 applies to the bottom. And finally, the last 0 applies to your left. Mind you, when you are specifying these values, there is nothing like a comma after each of the values. 30px space, the next value, space, the next value, space, and finally the next one. No comma. Don't separate these values with comma. They are without comma. I'm talking of comma. They are without comma. Please take note of that. Now, what we should be expecting as our result here is that there will be space at the top while others will not have any space. Let's check. You can see now we have space at the top, no space here, no space at the bottom, and no space on your left. So the 30px applies only to this area. That is why I said clockwise. The top, the right, the bottom, and your left. If I want the top to have a space, I want the right to have space, and I want the bottom to remain like this, and I want the left to remain also like this. All I need to do is to leave the 30 that I applied here, then the next value after the 30, then I come here to apply another 30 or another value. 30px, which is for the top. Now this belongs to the right. I will just change it to 30 as well. Let's see. Then the bottom remains 0. The left remains 0. Now you say 30 applies to this, 30 to this, is 0 and is 0. That is padding. And that is how padding works. Clockwise direction. There is another trick about padding that is commonly used, but many people don't understand how it works. I will explain that as well on padding. I can decide to apply only 2 values to a padding instead of the 4 values. Applying 2 values to the padding simply means that the first value applies to the top and the bottom. The next one applies to the left and the right. The first one, now don't forget, please remember this. If you put 2 values, what I have here now is 30px and 30px. What we are trying to say here is this. The first one should apply to the top and the bottom of the background. That is that box that we are working with. The second value here should apply to the left and to the right. Now let's say I want the left and the right to have a 0px. That means no padding at all. If you put a 0px, that means you are saying no padding to be applied to it. So now what we are trying to achieve here is the 30px you apply to the top and the bottom. The left and the right you have no padding. Let's take a look at the web page. The 30 applies to the top, it applies to the bottom. The left has no padding, the right has no padding. So in case you are applying 2 values only, if you could remember, when you apply 4 values, that means you are trying to actually apply the first one to the top, the second one to the right, the third one to the bottom, and the last one to the left. That is if you applied 4 different values. But in case you apply 2 different values, what you are saying is you are trying to combine the top and the bottom as one value. That means they should share the value by applying the same value to the top and to the bottom. Then the second value should apply to the left and the right. This is how you can work with padding. And in summary, if you apply one value, just one value, when you say padding colon 30px and you end your statement with a semicolon, what you are trying to say is this: apply the 30 to the top, apply that same 30 to the right, apply that same 30 to the bottom, apply that same 30 to the left. Just one value. But immediately you put two values, what you are saying is apply the first value to the top and the bottom, then the second value that comes after the first, apply to the right and apply to the left. But immediately you put the four values, it applies to the top, to the right, to the bottom, and to the left. That is padding. And I believe padding is clear now. Now let's move to the margin. Now, which one is margin? As I said, margin means outer space. That is outer spacing. Padding is inner, inside spacing. Now, if I apply margin now to this, what we are saying is this. Let's go. Margin, if I should put 100px, what we are saying here is this. Let's take a look at the screen. You can see that the space, the margin actually applies to the outside. This box has been pushed down. So the 100px means apply 100 to the top, push this thing down by 100 from the entire screen, and 100 here on the right, likewise 100 to the bottom, likewise 100 to the left. That is called margin. That is why I said you don't need to memorize. I don't teach students to memorize. I don't teach you to cram. I teach students to understand. It is when you understand that you can do more than expectation. But when you cram, when you memorize, you will definitely forget it. Margin means outer spacing. Padding means inner spacing. Simple. The same values that you apply to padding also applies to margin in the same direction, in the same method, the same way, the clockwise direction. So one value applied to a margin means it should apply it to the top, to the right, to the bottom, and to the left. If you put two values, that means apply it to the top. The first value applies to the top and the bottom. The second value applies to the right and the left. If you put four values, that means you are trying to apply the first value to the top, the second value to the right, the third one to the bottom, and the last one to the right, to the left. So padding and margin application is the same. The only difference is this. One is for the inner, while the other one is for the outer. Inner spacing, outer spacing, the same application, the same way of using it in terms of clockwise direction. Let's write down. Now, the next one we are going to look at is called the border. The border is, as the name implies, border. Border, you specify the first value that comes after it is the size of the line, let's say 5px, then the thickness of the line, the the line style, that is the border style. Let me put it that way. The border style, let's say solid, and finally the border color. Let's use red. Yellow is the background. Let's use red. So hashtag FF is 0000 in 4 places. Then we should have a border around our box. Let me remove the margin. Let me reduce the margin to 10 so that we can have it up. Yes. So this red outline permits me to call it outline. There's outline too in CSS, and it's actually different from border. But generally, if you see this now in graphic design, we call it outline. So it's called border here. The outline also look like this, but I will explain the difference maybe at the long run. Now this border, the border is the red thick line around it. The 5px that I put first here is the thickness. That is the border weight. We call it border weight, which is this. If I should come back to change it to something like, let's say 15, and let's see what happens. It will increase the thickness the more. That is the weight. If we are talking about the second value, which is the solid, is the styling of it. That means the style, the border style that we applied, which is just a regular border. We have another one again, which is called this, the ridge. The ridge is another border styling, which is something like this. This actually looks nice. This is the ridge, and it's still the border, the ridge. And we still have another one again, which is the dashed. The dashed is in form of dotted lines, which is this. Who is there? Is anybody there? Okay, we have less than 15 minutes. Now this is the dashed. You can see that. So these actually are regarded as the border styles. The border styles. Now what I put on the screen here is the shorthand form of writing the border. Why the breakdown of what we've done here is this. Let me just put it in the comments here. Let me put it in the comments. Which is this. We have the border weight. You can try that yourself. Border weight. That is the one we have for the, let me put the values. That is the one we actually assign the 15px to. Then we have the border style. That is the one we apply the solid or the ridge to. Then we have the border color. That is the one we actually put the red. FF 0000. So this, what we have here, the short way of writing is just border like this. We say 15px, the ridge, then the color. FF 000. Now this is the shorthand way of writing it. The shorthand way of writing this string. If you write it like this, it is still the same thing that is going to give you just like this. So writing it in this long format actually brings the same result with this. So you can decide to put your own like this, or you come across it in any programming. Don't be wondering which one is border weight, which one is border style, which one is border color. Meanwhile, it is what you have been using here, but you don't actually know what brought about these three values. So the three values here are these values, this property and the values which I have above the shorthand form. So you can try this on your own and you will see that it's still the same result as this. So that is border. So this is the dashed. I think we still have another one dotted. Dotted, if I'm not mistaken, yes, dotted. The dotted is like this. Can you say? This is the dotted. Dotted. So for this, under the style, we have the rich, we have the solid, we have the dotted, we have the dashed, and we have at least like so many like that. But these are the ones I can actually remember for now. Rich, solid, dotted, dashed, and I think we have the fridge. I think there's a fridge like that, something like that. So this is the dotted, and so on and so forth. Okay, let me give room for question, so I will not just be doing the talking. Do you have a question? If you have a question, please raise your hand and let's welcome the question. Frank, please go ahead and ask your question.
Let me do my
Okay, you want to
presentation.
share
Yes,
your
sir. My
assignment,
screen.
right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Before you do that, let me ask if anybody has question, so I can give you a chance to do that if there is no question. If you have a question, please signify. Okay. No question. Frank, please go ahead and share your screen. Let's see what you have.
Okay.
Frank?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead and share your screen. Let's see.
Yes, sir.
Sir,
Frank, have you done that? We are yet to see your screen.
Yeah.
I can't see your screen, oh. Okay, while you are doing that, civilian, what is the question? Civilian, I thought you were raising your hand.
yes, sir. My assignment too is ready. I don't know if
Okay.
I can present
Okay,
it.
you're just joining the class. Huh?
No, I've joined since.
Because I've asked of the assignment before I actually resume the lecture. Okay, I will check your own too after Frank. So this actually might time
Alright.
out. In case it times out, in case the thing time out, I will add extra 10 minutes so I can check your assignments before giving you another assignment. Okay, Frank, go ahead. Frank?
Yeah.
I can't see your screen, though. Am I the only one?
Yeah.
Have you shared your
Yes.
screen?
Yes.
I can only see your DP.
Yes. I've shared.
I'm only seeing your picture. Can you guys see Frank screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what can you see from there?
Yes, his screen is visible.
Okay,
The assignment is
can you see the assignment?
Yes.
Me, I'm only seeing his picture here. You don't want me to see your screen. That is Nigerian network for you. It's only your picture I'm seeing. Okay.
What?
Okay, let me assign someone to check that in for us. Okay, let me assign who has done Timilayi. Timileyin, can you hear me?
Okay, I can see the screen now.
Okay. Timileyin, go ahead and check what Frank has done compared to what you've done. And let's see if there's difference there. So I want to know, you guys should check along because I'm not seeing the screen. I'm not seeing the screen. I'm
Yes,
only seeing.
there's difference there.
There is
Number
difference, right?
one, the thing there is that I think yes, Mr. Frank added
Okay,
the
now I can
margin to his
see.
own.
Thank God. Okay, I can see student scores. Is that the screen?
Yes, yes, sir.
Then,
That's the screen, sir.
okay, Frank, you added color yellow to the
Then
table.
yes, sir.
Okay,
Then
the text,
the text red.
the linked text red. Oh yeah, click on
Yes.
Frank. Let's see where it's taking us to.
Okay. I pray it takes us to Frank.
Okay, so this is Frank profile. Where are you there? Are you at the back or at the front?
Yes.
Which one? I can see picture. So this is Frank profile. Nice one. Okay. Now you
Yes.
know what you're going to
Yes, sir.
do. This thing that you've done,
Yes, sir.
you are going to create a link
Yes, sir.
under that place where you have Frank profile that will bring us back to this table.
Yes.
I'm adding to your assignment.
Okay.
Do you understand that?
Okay. Yeah, I understand that.
Okay. So you're going to bring us that you put another link
Yes, sir.
that will bring us back to this table. That is, I'm adding
Yes.
to it. Now click on what is the value? Bimbo. Am I right? Is this Bimbo?
Yes, Bimbo.
Okay.
Yes, Bimbo.
Now click on Bimbo. Let's see what is there.
Okay, sir.
Where is it taking us to?
I think it's taking us. It should be taking us to Bimbo's profile.
Okay, let's see Bimbo's profile.
It's low.
That is okay.
Yes, this is it.
Okay. So Bimbo is a fighter. That is good.
I just use any.
Don't mind me. I'm only pulling your legs. I'm only kidding. I'm joking.
I know, sir.
All right. I love that. Okay. Now the same thing you are going to apply to this. You are going to apply a link that takes us back to the table under Bimbo profile. Okay. Is that clear?
Okay. Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let's see the next one. The picture. I think I saw one picture there.
Yes, sir.
Now the picture, where is it taking us to?
Yeah, this one. It's not taking anywhere. You say it should be clickable, but it shouldn't take us anywhere.
Okay.
That's from the first assignment.
It should be clickable. I know. I remember the information. Yeah. I remember what is there. Yeah. It's not easy to be writing programs and you be the forgetting type, the forgetful type rather. Okay. The picture should be clickable. That means it should remain on this page. Click on it, let's say.
Yes.
Okay, that's correct. Now, what I'm seeing here is you apply something called the palm sign, hashtag. I can see it from the URL.
Yes.
Aha.
Yes.
Now, I will say this again, a point of correction. Whenever you are trying to name your files, don't name your files with capital letters. Yes. I'm seeing from the URL. In case you don't know what I mean by URL, I'm talking of others now.
Hello.
That place where you normally type
send it to you
google.com, facebook.com.
Again.
That spot is where is where we type the URL. URL is your website address. Website address is an abbreviation for Uniform Resources Locator. URL. So always make sure that your URL, that is the URL, is always in small cap, not capital letter.
All right, sir. Please,
in case you actually want to open this website on a Unix server, there will be issue. It might not open on a Unix server. Unix. because it's actually case sensitive. Okay, that is good. Then where is I think that is all. Okay, this is a nice job. This is a nice job. Well done, well done, well done. So you apply
Thank you.
CSS to this, right? Is it inline or document wide or external that you apply?
Yeah, I think it's inline, sir. This is it.
Inline. Okay, that is good.
Yes.
Well done. I love this. I love this. Just keep at it. No, keep it up, and you can
Yes, sir.
actually improve by doing more. Well done, Frank.
Thank you, sir.
Well done. The
Thank you,
last
sir.
class, were you in the last class?
Yes.
So the assignment is what?
When you give the simple assignment,
What is the assignment?
okay, uh, on the first page, there's the first this thing you give to us, the first assignment that you give upper week,
Yes.
that the table that we created, the table that we created, we should add yellow color. That's the background should be yellow.
Okay.
Then the text should be red.
Okay.
Then the link text should be yellow, while the background of the link should be red. I think that's the
Okay.
assignment.
Now I'm going to add to this assignment again. I'm going to add to this assignment. Okay. I'm going to add to this assignment. All right. Thank you. Let me quickly check Timile's own why we now add another assignment to this. All right,
Thank
Timile. Let's have yours. Let's have yours. Let's have yours.
Sir. Okay, sir.
Timile, let's have your own. Dennis, I will
All right.
tell you. Let's see
All right.
let's see Timile's assignment first.
All right. Hold on, sir.
Okay.
I want to share my screen.
We are waiting because I would like to see it myself.
All right.
I can't wait to see it.